Welcome back, friends. Okay, so earlier this week, my timeline blew up with reactions to the first Crazy Rich Asians trailer. It looks so awesome, and I'm excited to talk about it. So joining me now is Eliza Romero. She's the founder of Aesthetic Distance and editor at Plan A magazine. Good morning.
Good morning, Saeed.
Thank you so much for joining us. Hi. So to start, for people who have been living under a rock and aren't familiar with the movie or the book, what is Crazy Rich Asians about?
Crazy Rich Asians is basically a love story between two American-born Chinese, and they go to Singapore to meet his family. And the main female lead, played by Constance Wu, Rachel, finds out that he is actually the most wealthy bachelor on the island.
Whew. Goals. For so many reasons. It's so fabulous. And obviously, you know, people are excited because the trailer looks great and Constance Wu is life. But also,
yes.
Listen, representation, just getting to see Asian stories on the screen. Can you talk about why that's so exciting for you?
It's so exciting. In fact, for me, it's really exciting because I've been waiting for something like this for so long. This is the movie that I wish that I had growing up as a teenager. Instead, I had Sex and the City, and I had Gossip Girl, and I had Clueless, where there's no Asian people at all. In fact, my timeline blew up too on Monday, and most people were really excited, but there were also some detractors that were criticizing the book and the film very heavily.
Okay, interesting. Well, to that point, you tweeted out a very thoughtful thread. You said, "This is a thread for anyone looking to read more books about Asians by Asian authors. Crazy Rich Asians, of course, isn't the only option out there. It's just the one getting the hype right now," which is so true. And I always like to think of these moments as opportunities, as openings, right? Like the book and the movie are great, but really it's like, let's open the aperture. And so you listed a lot of great books by other Asian authors. And so what are a few of your recommendations?
One of the first ones I want to talk about is The Latinos of Asia by Dr. Anthony Ocampo. This book is about how Filipinos share cultural and historical connections with both Latinos and Asians. I chose it because despite our numbers in the US and our presence around the world, Filipinos are so overlooked when talking about Asian and Asian Americans, and there's very little known about our culture. Like, we're the only Catholic country in Asia. We were the only American colony. When you enter a Filipino household, everyone has Spanish names. The Virgin Mary is everywhere. We don't have a distinct look, for example. Some of us look very East Asian. Some of us look Mexican. And basically, this book talks about how there's no binary categorization for Filipinos here.
Oh, how interesting and needed. What a wonderful book. I got to get that. Your next book, you say, is Five-Star Billionaire by Tosh Ah.
So if you do not like Crazy Rich Asians, then this one is for you. I read both books back to back, and I kept thinking that they were the polar opposite of one another. So don't be deterred by the title. This novel follows several different characters as they try to make it big in modern day China, which is now a mixed state-run and free market economy. Some of the characters are rich, some of them are poor, but they all have interesting backstories and motivations for doing the things that they do. Okay. And of course, they're all connected in some way when the novel wraps up.
Right on. So it all does come together in the end.
Yeah.
Cool. Your next book is America is Not the Heart. What a title. Tell us about that book.
It is an interesting title because the author, Elaine Castillo, who is a Filipino-American, she seems to be riffing on another famous Asian American novel from 1946 called America is in the Heart. First, this novel sticks out to me because there is a void for Filipino novels. And also, this time, instead of being completely in love with their new country and life here in America, Castillo's novel is more of a cautionary tale. Like maybe immigrants shouldn't be so quick to fall in love with America, and this book is a lot less optimistic. It follows a family of Filipino immigrants in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it's basically a love story as well as a multi-generational family epic. Also, there are two young Filipino women who are the main characters, and they fall in love with each other. And that is a story that you never hear. It's so rare.
Wow. I need to read that book. I love this.
Like that
I love good book recommendations. Okay, we have one more. Our last book is The Best We Could Do.
Right. The Best We Could Do by T. Bui. This is a graphic novel by a Vietnamese writer and illustrator, and she traces her parents and her grandparents' journey from Vietnam to California in the 70s. This is an important book that I think that everyone should read, because it's so often that we get just the American side of the story in the Vietnam War, and we never ever hear about the Vietnamese perspective. And so I love that it's a graphic novel, because pictures, artwork can be so powerful. And she never, ever compromises for the sake of a Western reader. Like, she tells it exactly how it is.
I love it.
And I thought it was gorgeous. And it made me cry.
Oh, it made you cry. And I love graphic novels as well. So, well, Eliza, thank you so much for joining me this morning and for the recommendations. Talking about a good book recommendation is one of my favorite things. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And friends, don't go away. Up next, Chantal and I are going to be reading your tweets. I love it. I got to buy all these books.